Today we've got a look at Fuji Superia 1600 color negative film. Coming right up. Most of you probably know that Fuji discontinued the Superia 1600 color negative film a while ago, and even the most recent batches expired back in 2018. Well, this summer I got my hands on some through another giveaway. This one was a dad joke competition sponsored by Mike Gutterman, host of the Negative Positives Film Photography Podcast. You can see more of Mike's work on Instagram at GuttermanPhoto. My joke was actually more of a riddle. What do Eskimos get when they sit on the ice too long? Polaroids. I know, dad jokes don't necessarily have to be funny, they just have to be cringy. And the fact that this so-called joke was photography related, I think helped me win one of the prizes. And the prize that I won was 2 rolls of Fuji Superia 1600 color negative film. These were graciously donated by Mr. Stanley Phillips. Stanley is a photographer currently based in Napa, California, and you can check out his work on Instagram at StanleyPhillips6. And he's also featured on episode 286 of the Negative Positive Podcast. I'll leave links to some of Stanley's stuff in the description down below. The expiration date on this film was August 2009, so it was about a decade expired. And I did decide to go ahead and overexpose it by a stop. I don't always overexpose my expired film, but in this case, being color negative film, I figured it could probably handle it. Plus, higher speed films tend to be a little bit more affected by age than low speed films, so I just set my camera's EI or ISO to 800. I used 2 cameras to shoot this film. I shot one roll through my Olympus XA2 zone focus camera, then the other roll I shot through my Canon Rebel T2 SLR. It's not every day I come across high speed film like this, so even though I got the film back in summer, I saved until October for my trip to New York City. Now, the main focus of my trip was to attend the PDN PHOTO PLUS EXPO at the Javits Center. PHOTO PLUS is a huge trade show that deals with all things photography. Of course, there's a heavy emphasis on digital photography, and I did get to play around with the new Fuji X Pro 3, but there was a nice representation of film photography folks there as well. As a matter of fact, I ran into a couple of old friends, Mike Rosso and Matt Marash of the Film Photography Podcast, while I was watching a demonstration of the Labbox Daylight Developing Tank. The next day, I met their fellow FPP regular John Fideli at a soggy photo walk sponsored by Ilford. Another highlight of my New York City experience was a trip to Brooklyn to attend a lecture at the BUSHWICK Community Darkroom presented by fellow Central Ohio photographer STEPHEN Takacks. Stephen is a very talented photographer who makes these amazing large format prints with all sorts of alternative processes. His Brownie Emotion project has taken him all over the country with his enormous Brownie camera that is so big you can actually walk inside it, which I did, and it was super cool. You can find Stephen on Instagram at BrownieInMotion, and I'll leave links to his work in the description also. Most of the interior shots you'll see were taken at the PHOTO PLUS Expo in Manhattan, and most of the street art images were taken in Brooklyn. With 1600 speed film, you expect to see a decent amount of grain, but for being 10 years expired, I think this film actually held up pretty well. Big thanks again to Mr. Stanley Phillips for graciously donating this film, and to Mike Gutterman and the Negative Positives Film Photography Podcast for sponsoring this giveaway. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and please consider subscribing. You can always find more of my photography over on Instagram at TheOldCameraGuy. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, do some good, have some fun, and shoot some film.